Good morning, boys and girls. I'm Dr. Professor Cat, and today I'm here to talk to you about psychology. What is psychology, you ask? Psychology, to put it simple, is an academic and applied discipline involving the scientific study of human mental functions and behaviors. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of my personal favorites, behaviorism. Loosely speaking, behaviorism is an attitude. Strictly speaking, behaviorism is a doctrine. According to Wikipedia, though, behaviorism is a philosophy of psychology based on the propositions that all things which organisms do, including acting, thinking, and feeling. When talking about behaviorism, one name comes to mind, Ivan Pavlov. His findings are world-renowned, so much so that he earned a Nobel Peace Prize. This man is heralded for something he discovered by accident. Before I go into that any further, I would like to conduct an experiment right now with you and everyone in this class. Stand up. Stand up right now. If you stood up, can I ask you why? I am no figure of authority, yet you listen to me. And for those of you that didn't, I applaud you. And now I'm going to run through a quick little psychology test. It'll be fun, I promise. Will you look at the ceiling for me? Keep watching it. You never know, something might happen. Now quickly inspect your nails for dirt. Look at each and every cuticle and examine them, just looking for dirt. It's got to be there somewhere. Now inspect the bottom of your shoes. There's got to be dirt, or maybe you stepped in poop. Who knows? It's got to be there. Check the heel. Check it thoroughly. Now pretend. Keyword here, like I said, pretend to take out a cigarette and place it in your mouth, because we all know smoking is bad for us. After you're done with that, take out your pretend book of matches and strike one to light your cigarette. Is your cigarette lit now? Good. Now extinguish the match. See, that wasn't too hard. That was probably one of the easiest tests you'll ever take. Now let me explain why I made you guys do that. Girls and boys typically have two different yet distinct actions and reactions, and this test helps to point them out to you. While gazing at the lovely ceiling, boys will inspect every corner of it, but on the other hand, females just look directly up from where they're standing and stare at the same spot. The nail test was to show that girls extend their arms out and inspect their nails from afar, whereas boys bring their nails closer to their face with their palms facing them. When a girl is looking for debris on the bottom of her shoe, she is more likely to grab the shoe with her arm and lift it up and inspect it. Guys, on the other hand, just simply glance over their shoulder as they raise their foot from the ground about an inch. Last but not least, the imaginary cigarette. Girls tend to put a cigarette in their mouth with the first two fingers, whereas guys tend to use their thumbs. While extinguishing their matches, boys shake it until the flame subsides, and the girls blow it out. Now, don't worry if your responses weren't all the right gender. It doesn't mean you're a tranny or anything. It just means your mannerisms are a little off for your gender. Now moving on to Pavlov.
Ironically, one of the most important figures in the study of learning, Ivan Pavlov, wasn't concerned with the subject at all. At least not at first. Pavlov, a noted Russian scientist, won the Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine in 1904. As this original footage shows, Pavlov was initially interested in digestion and the action of the salivary glands. By diverting the saliva of dogs into test tubes, he could precisely measure if and how much they salivated during digestion. When food was presented, the dog salivated quickly, an inherited salivary reflex. But over repeated testings, a strange thing happened. The dog salivated before contact with the food. Just the sight of the food was enough to stimulate their drooling. Then, just seeing the food dish, or even hearing the footsteps of Pavlov or his assistants, was enough to trigger this built-in reflex. What was going on to elicit this response? Pavlov decided to find out by systematically varying the stimuli and measuring the dog's reaction. Metronomes, lights, and bells were all used as stimuli, and they all worked as stand-ins for the food. What mattered was not the kind of stimulus that was used, but the fact that it reliably signaled that food was on the way. Pavlov had discovered a fundamental type of learning called classical conditioning. An original stimulus elicits an automatic unlearned response. Both stimulus and response happen naturally. They are unconditioned. Then a second, neutral stimulus that never elicits the unconditioned response by itself is introduced just before the presentation of the original stimulus. If the neutral or signaling stimulus is presented alone, and a response occurs as if the original stimulus were still there, we say that conditioning has taken place. The arbitrary neutral stimulus becomes a conditioned stimulus.